Pat Beaupre Becker, certified weight loss coach. And here I am with my carrots and my kale. Kale, which is the much aligned vegetable because it's so overdone, but it's so good for you. So I am here today to talk to you about how to lose weight over 60 or as you're approaching 60. Many women in their 50s consider themselves almost 60. And as we get older, we have a shorter amount of time to get it together. And so I really want to draw you in if you are someone who is ready to make a decision. So let's say you have made a decision and you want to lose weight. Well, I'm so happy that you're here because what I'm going to share with you today is the first step. How do you lose weight? The first step. Well, of course, the first step, as I just said, is deciding. But what is the actual next step that you have to do? So what I want to suggest is that in the way that I work with my clients, I'm going to put down my kale. Oh, it's so lovely. I really like it. But the way I like to work with my clients is to look at the whole program in terms of 4 buckets. So the first bucket is going to be food. Your food choices, what it is you're going to eat, okay? The second bucket is I call care for your humanity. And if you look behind me, you'll see the 3 of those emotions sitting over there. And we have to learn how to manage our emotions because for many of us, food and emotions are kind of cued together and we don't do one without the other. So we have to learn how to manage our emotions. And bucket number 3 is the care of your brain, because how you think is one of the most important things that you do in your life, and yet how often do we pay attention to the way we think? So one of the ways, the model that I have learned from the life coach school is this idea that your thoughts are everything, because when you think about something and you have an opinion of it, it creates an emotion, and from that emotion is where you're going to pretty much live your life, whether you're a negative emotion, a positive emotion, whether you're living from fear, fear of being ashamed, fear. So many things that we do or don't do is because of how we feel. So we have to look at that bucket in terms of thoughts really matter. And then bucket number 4 is actually creating a lifestyle. So if you've lived as long as I have, I'm now 64, now is the time to look forward to a future with new ideas and new goals, and actually with all the things we know about the brain, about the law of attraction, is we could actually create the life that we want. But we have to think about it. We have to design it. We have to get our sleep. We have to look at stress. We have to move. We have to continue to move as we get older. If we don't, we know what's going to happen. So the beauty of being this age is that really it's like my mom used to say, it's time, well, I won't even say it, it's time to poop or get off the pot. She didn't use those words. So we know that the time that we have now, it's so precious. So let's use it. So in that last bucket, which is creating a lifestyle, we want to look at sleep and stress and movement and creativity and joy and play. And for many of us, purpose is also really important. So these are the buckets that really are all the buckets that I work with my clients in terms of losing weight. So it's not just about weight, it's about our lives. So what today I want to talk about is the guidelines for choosing your food. So what do you eat? How do you lose weight? So what I teach is to create a protocol. Some people call it a food plan, or you could call it anything you want to call it, but I'm going to refer to it as a protocol. So you have to decide on your own protocol. And some hints for how you create a protocol is you want to decide how much food you're going to eat. You want to decide when you're going to eat. There's a lot of research done about fasting, so there's no snacking that I would recommend. So how often are you going to eat, and what are you going to eat? And so you really want to pick this protocol based on what it is you want to achieve, how much weight you want to lose. So what I like to give people a hint for creating their protocol is basically ask the question, well, what foods do you already eat that are healthy? Quite often we have a variety of foods we're eating, and if we're eating a lot of junk food, we still probably have some healthy foods that we eat. So the other question I'd like to ask you is, do you like variety in your meals, or do you like to eat the same thing pretty much all the time? Because that will also help you in your planning. I know I like to have the same breakfast pretty much every day, and so it makes it easy for shopping and for prepping and for planning, because I'm just prepping one thing. If you're happy with having the same lunch all week, then you can make that easier by creating the plan and have the same meals each lunch. Or let's say you like variety, so then you're going to cook enough food where you're going to have a lot of variety in your protocol. So the other thing is that you want to avoid foods containing flour or sugar or any ingredients that you can't pronounce. That would be, if it's something that is a chemical, you really don't want to grab a lot of that food. So, and if you are right now eating a lot of foods that are processed, then you just want to see if you can change one meal at a time. I mean, the goal is to eat as little of processed food as possible. And there are many reasons for that, which we'll go to at another time. So you want to avoid foods containing flour and sugar, you want to avoid snacking, and you want to decide upon a window of time that you're going to eat. So a sample could be you're going to eat from 7 a.m. to 7 p.m. and you're going to have 3 meals. So what that means is you'll have a 12-hour window of eating with a 12-hour fast. Some people like to have 2 meals a day, and that would be an 8-hour window of eating and a 16-hour fast. And so you have to decide what's going to work for you. If you don't have breakfast and you don't think you really need to have breakfast, then that's fine, as long as you're getting the proper amounts of food, fats and protein and healthy carbs in terms of vegetables into your meal plan. So once you kind of create that protocol, what you want to do is you want to put it down on paper. You want to write that protocol down, and you want to follow it to a T for 2 weeks. Because number one, if you are eliminating flour and sugar, you're going to need that much time to get those substances out of your body. So you will need to give it at least 2 weeks in order to feel a little bit better, because you may actually not feel so great in the beginning. So you have to be willing for 2 weeks to stick to that protocol. And then you can see, are you losing weight? Are you hungry, or are you full? Like, what is going on? And then you have some information that you can use to tweak it, to add food to it, to take food away, and to see what your body requires in order to lose weight, in order to maintain weight. And that's what following the protocol will do. The other thing that happens when you follow the protocol when you don't want to follow the protocol, then you have the opportunity to dip into the other buckets. Then we start to look at our emotions. Well, if we're getting overly emotional and we're choosing to eat with our emotions, then we want to learn how to manage our emotions without food. If you are, what's other things? So if you start to think, I can't do this, I don't want to do this, this is crazy, then we have this whole tools that you can look at in the bucket on how to care for your brain, and which is your thoughts. How to look at those thoughts and see exactly why you're getting the result that you're getting. It's very, very likely it's somehow because of the way you're thinking. So then we have the other buckets of, if you are actually not focusing on getting pleasure and emotional sustenance from food, then you want to create a lifestyle. You want to find things to do in your life that become more important than food. So this is how we get started. Once you create that protocol and you write it down and you follow it, then it hits the fan, and then it's time to look at all the reasons why you're not losing weight, or why you haven't decided before. Maybe because you anticipated that these things were going to happen. So now the difference is we're going to anticipate that you're going to have this negative thoughts, that it's going to be difficult, but we're going to have some strategies in place. So I really wanted to start you on the protocol. I want you to come up with a protocol that will work for you. And I also want to offer that I can give you a 30-minute mini session where we can tweak your protocol, where we can figure out what your obstacles are. And I will give you 30 minutes where I'll tell you about my program, and I will we'll hone in on one of the problems, or one of the areas in which you need more help, whether it's to tweak your food protocol, whether it's to look at your thoughts, whether it's to create something healthy in your lifestyle. So I'm going to give you 30 minutes and we can figure something out. So I want you to create your protocol, follow it for 2 weeks, and I'll be coming back here to talk about the other buckets as well. So I won't just leave you hanging here. So really take the time to write that protocol down and then see what happens. So again, it's Pat Beaupre Becker, certified weight loss coach, here enjoying this beautiful day, and hope that you have a fantastic evening. Bye.